Well, let's get into what the hell the Democrats have done, what they're doing. Kate, you mentioned your disappointment at Biden's response. I do want to look at his speech and give him all the lack of credit that he deserves. So here he is. His initial response is, you need to vote.
The only way we can secure a woman's right to choose, the balance that existed, is for Congress to restore the protections of Roe v. Wade as federal law. No executive action from the president can do that. And if Congress, as it appears, lacks the votes to do that now, voters need to make their voices heard.
So it's not on me or us. It's on you. Not me, us. Hey, I'm using a Bernieism.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I'm very upset right now, so I'm sure it's influencing some, in some way. But I mean, I just find this to be absolutely disgusting, to ask for our vote while not doing his job. I mean, like, if I don't do my job, or if you don't do your job, like the times that we've worked for an employer, like, you get fired for not doing your job. And, it's like, I don't know. I mean, people love to kind of talk about the political constraints, but I mean, I'd like to see him trying and failing at least,
Absolutely. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I was on the fence before this decision came down in terms of whether I thought Biden should run again. Just cause whatever. I guess he did it once, do it again. And then we'll get someone, really good, 2028 kind of thing. And this has put me firmly in that he should not at all be president camp.
No, he won't win. I mean, his approval rating with, like, I was looking at it today, his approval rating with people under 34, like 18 to 34, is it's like 25%. Like, the young people are mad, and you can't win without that entire demographic,
Absolutely. And as they should be. I mean, I think I was at a demo the other day, and a 13-year-old girl got on the mic. 13, having to take the streets over this, and she shouldn't have to. And I just want to say that the line from the Democrats of vote harder, vote more, like, give us more money, it is so crass, it is tone deaf, and it's offensive. And, like, you can talk about voting, that's fine, but you have to actually give us something to vote for. Anything, literally do anything, but don't rest on, like, well, remember the one-time child tax credit? We had that thing that we expired anyway. We didn't fight for. We did things.
Yeah, and we see that they have, infinity money for war. We see that they can immediately pass legislation to make it illegal to protest in front of, a Supreme Court justice's house. Like, I mean, I mean, especially I don't want to say coming out, because we're still in it. Like, this pandemic, it's like, Biden largely ran on being able to get COVID under control, and it's still not. And I mean, it's, what a miserable failure of a president, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you mentioned people under 24. Here's a young woman speaking.
34. Like, under a lot of people. Yeah. So
I like to remind people from time to time that Bernie got more votes of people under 35 than both Trump and Hillary combined in 2016. Also a fun time to remind people that more Bernie voters voted for Hillary than Hillary voters voted for Obama in 2008. So take that, anyone who's trying to come for fucking Bernie people right now.
It doesn't matter to them. I mean, it's like, I think, like, I don't remember the exact percentages, but definitely over 70% of Bernie voters voted for Clinton and Biden. I think also maybe even substantially higher than that. It's a safe estimate. And, you still see people, like, blaming Bernie voters for this. It's like, I mean, it's such a false that's not why it happened.
No. And here's how that's hitting on the streets. This is a young woman named Zoe Warren who spoke to MSNBC. I'm surprised MSNBC even aired this. Take a look.
For abortion rights. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Zoe, talk to me first about why it is you wanted to come out here today, because something that struck me was when you were speaking earlier and you mentioned your anger because you had received a text message from the Biden campaign. Why is that?
So I received a text message from Joe Biden's campaign yesterday saying that the Supreme Court had overturned Roe versus Wade and that it was my responsibility to then rush $15 to the Democratic National Party. And I thought that was absolutely outrageous because my rights should not be a fundraising point for them or a campaigning point. They have had multiple opportunities to codify Roe into law over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they haven't done it. And if they're going to keep campaigning on this point, they should actually do something about it.
What are you most worried about, Julia?
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, she expressed that so well.
Yes. And they have had chances. I don't want to subject you guys to Pelosi's reading of an Israeli poet in response to Roe v. Wade, but I do want to mention that, as recently as 2016, and I feel like, Kate, you're a great person to talk about this with, Nancy Pelosi, when Clinton lost, was saying, look, we need to not focus on identity politics. And the fact that we talked about abortion rights really alienated the conservative voters. This is in an interview with the Washington Post. And she says, it can't be a litmus test. We need to win back conservative voters. And we're a party of working family values. That's how she framed it, which is so fucking rich to me because this is the biggest cock block to like progressive working family legislation is Nancy Pelosi. But when it's convenient for her, which is to throw pro-choice people under the bus and abortion rights people under the bus, she's going to touch that rail. She'll use that. Suddenly it's all about working families. It's just so clear how cynically they use identity politics. When it benefits them to shit on the left, they'll do it. When it doesn't benefit them because they want to appeal and coddle the fucking fascist right, they're going to do that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. I think that, there's this mythical voter that we hear about all the time of like this, usually they call it like the suburban voter, white suburban voters, and everything, or like the swing voter, and everything is supposed to be for this person who like really truly doesn't exist. Like most people's politics are pretty like incoherent and complicated and vote a lot based on inflation, like it's not
right.
But I think that the function that trope serves is like this, moderate suburban voter. That's a way that they can talk about what is actually the interests of corporations without saying like, oh, this is what our corporate donors want. And, that's the way that they can also campaign for someone like Henry Cuellar against a progressive pro-choice woman like Jessica Cisneros, by saying, oh, we have to get this moderate voter. No, you got to get the more pro-corporate guy in there. It's not, I don't think the Democratic Party, like the people that are, I'm sure like, does Nancy Pelosi individually believe that abortion is, fine? Probably, but it doesn't matter because like our rights and our interests are just like not even on their list of things that are relevant to the decision at all. So, they will support abortion when it's politically expedient to do so. And even some of the times that it is politically expedient, they won't do it then because they don't really care about losing. But it's like,
right.
It's just, there's nobody fighting for us. No one.
There's a few. There are
a few individuals.
A couple individuals. But yes, yeah. I agree. And I do want to give Biden minimal credit. He was very strong in saying he defends a woman's right to travel to get an abortion.
Yeah, I mean, Biden has, like, to me, one of the most disappointing moments in the 2020 election was seeing, feminist orgs and prominent feminists refuse to endorse Bernie Sanders when it was down to just Biden and Bernie. And part of the reason that upset me so much is because Biden's track record on abortion is pretty bad. Like the Hyde Amendment, I mean, just people who listen to the show probably know what that is, but it prevents, federal funding for abortion. And,
Mm-hmm.
The Senator Henry Hyde, like, explicitly out loud stated, like, hey, I'd love to prevent everyone from getting abortions, but, we can't. The only people who can really have control over getting abortions is poor women. We can prevent them by preventing Medicaid from covering it. And Biden supported this until 2019, and that's a direct attack on the most vulnerable women in our society, and queer people too. I don't want to just say women, but it also, like,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean,
I think that's a really good point. I think it's so clear that he was going to be even worse than someone like Obama, who, I have to take you down memory lane. In 2007, on the campaign trail, this is what he was promising Planned Parenthood, specifically one attendee who was very worried in 2007 and said, we need to codify Roe. And so, yeah, what happened?
What would you do at the federal level, not only to ensure access to abortion, but to make sure that the judicial nominees that you will inevitably be able to pick are true to the core tenets of Roe v. Wade?
Well, the first thing I'd do as president is sign the Freedom of Choice Act. That's the first thing that I'd do.
First thing I do is sign the Freedom of Choice Act. There we go. So making Roe v. Wade law, rather than sort of this tenuous, blanket, like, no, don't abridge me, but it's not necessarily a law. It's not necessarily the law of the land. So that was 2007, and this is him in 2008, not long after assuming office, being asked specifically about the Freedom of Choice Act. Here you go.
Freedom of Choice Act is not my highest legislative priority.
Okay, and nor was it ever. So not only his highest, but never made it in. Hyde Amendment still active today.
yeah, and that means, what that means, not to, like, make us go down this line, but, like, women who are in these states that have banned abortion, except for, like, when a mother's life is in danger, it's like they may still have a hassle of a time getting an abortion, if they're able to at all, due to cost. Like, it's just horrible. It's, I mean, makes me
it's like, it's so soul crushing. I can't, like, the only thing I can say for SCOTUS, good on them for not doing this and releasing this decision the same week of the Uvalde massacre. Because we would have burned it all to the ground, number one, but also I think my heart would have exploded into a million pieces. And like, I just can't. And not to say we both, those two things shouldn't or may not already will happen very soon. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.